Cenat GF final tells her side after getting caught with NBA Youngboy. The internet didn't just pause when this broke, it held its breath like it was watching a car crash in slow motion. 1 minute Cenat was the untouchable king of streaming, the internet's golden boy, the face of non-stop grind and infectious energy. The next minute, his name was plastered across every timeline next to 3 words nobody ever expected to see together: girlfriend, exposed, NBA Youngboy. And just like that, everything detonated. It started with a tweet. Short. Cold. Devastating. I'm single. I'll never be in another relationship again. No explanation. No context. Just pain. Within minutes, that tweet racked up millions of views, and fans knew instantly this wasn't a regular breakup. Something had shattered. And while Kai was spiraling in silence, talking openly about mental health struggles and disappearing from his usual high-energy streams, his girlfriend was posting something that made the internet turn feral. Luxury shopping. Designer bags. Travel vlogs. Smiling captions about how amazing her life was. Then the rumors hit. Screenshots. Alleged sightings. Whispers that she'd been caught with NBA Youngboy. 2 worlds colliding in the messiest way possible. The streaming community lost its mind. Rap fans jumped in. Twitter turned into a courtroom. TikTok became a crime scene investigation. And everyone asked the same question: how did it get this bad? But just when people thought the story was over, when they thought she'd hide and let the internet drag her in silence, she did the unthinkable. She went live. She spoke. She told her side. And what she claimed happened behind closed doors flipped the entire narrative on its head. Because if she's telling the truth, then this wasn't just cheating. This was betrayal layered with secrets the internet hasn't even fully uncovered yet. The cracks didn't start with the leak. They started quietly, months before the internet ever caught on, when the energy around Cenat shifted in a way longtime fans couldn't explain. The streams were still pulling numbers, the laughs were still there, but something underneath felt off. The jokes came a half-second late. The smiles didn't reach his eyes. And when Kai stood on that award stage telling millions of people to take care of their mental health, the room clapped, but the internet felt it. That wasn't a motivational line. That was a confession. People clipped it, replayed it, slowed it down, and said the same thing over and over: something is wrong. At the same time, his girlfriend's content told a completely different story. While Kai was pulling back, she was posting more. Travel vlogs. Hotel rooms flooded with natural light. Designer shopping halls stacked like trophies. Chanel bags on bedsheets. Captions about freedom, gratitude, and how amazing life felt right now. Fans noticed the disconnect immediately. How does one half of a relationship look like he's drowning while the other looks like she's floating? At first, people defended her. Everyone copes differently. Not everything needs to be public. But the more the contrast grew, the harder it was to ignore. Then came the Christmas wishlist video. That's when things shifted from quiet concern to open side-eye. She sat there casually listing items most people only see behind glass. A pink G-Wagon. A Birkin that required calling the jeweler. Diamond earrings. A watch that cost more than a house in some cities. And the tone wasn't playful. It was dismissive. Cheap. Not that much. Fans did the math in real time and realized she was asking for close to $1 million like it was pocket change. The comments exploded. Some laughed. Some cringed. Some warned Kai. And then Christmas came and went. He didn't get everything on that list. That's when the whispers started. Not loud at first. Just murmurs in comment sections. Subtweets. TikToks hinting that something was off. And then one name entered the conversation that changed everything. NBA Youngboy. At first, it sounded ridiculous. Too chaotic. Too perfect for the internet to latch onto. But then screenshots started floating around. DMs that looked just real enough to spark panic. Not explicit. Not undeniable. But familiar. Comfortable. And in the internet's eyes, familiarity is guilt. The situation escalated overnight when a shaky clip began circulating. Two figures leaving the same location. Same city. Same night. The footage was grainy, just unclear enough to be debated endlessly. Some swore it was her. Others said it couldn't be proven. But it didn't matter. Because Kai didn't jump online to shut it down. He didn't laugh it off. He didn't stream through it. He went silent. And then he tweeted the line that broke everything. I'm single. I'll never be in another relationship again. No emojis. No explanation. Just finality. That tweet hit 17 million views in hours. Fan pages panicked. Group chats went crazy. People knew instantly this wasn't PR. This wasn't trolling. This was heartbreak. And the timing made it worse. While Kai was spiraling publicly, his girlfriend posted a vlog talking about how amazing her life was, how she was traveling, living freely, grateful for everything. The internet didn't take that well. Clips were stitched together. Kai talking about mental health on stage. Her smiling in a Chanel store. The contrast felt cruel. Cold. Calculated. For days, she said nothing. And in the internet silence economy, silence is a statement. The narrative filled itself in fast. Gold digger. Clout chaser. Upgrade hunter. People dug up old interviews where she described her dream man, and the description didn't sound anything like Kai. They pulled old clips where she joked about shopping being her therapy. They noticed how Kai had stopped hanging with his friends as much, stopped streaming as often, stopped being himself. The word toxic started trending next to his name. Then she finally spoke. Not calmly. Not carefully. Defensive. Angry. She claimed she left the relationship. She denied cheating. She denied ever dealing with NBA Youngboy. She accused the internet of running with a fake Twitter post and painting a false narrative. But that explanation only poured gasoline on the fire. If she left, why was Kai shattered? Why did he look blindsided? Why was he the one publicly grieving while she looked untouched? Insiders began whispering that the relationship had been unstable long before the internet found out. Constant arguments about money. About priorities. About how public everything felt. According to people close to Kai, he felt like he was carrying the emotional weight alone while also being expected to provide non-stop. According to people close to her, she felt trapped by expectations, judged by fans, and suffocated by the image of being Kai Cenat's girlfriend instead of her own person. Two truths colliding without resolution. And then came the confrontation fans never saw. Allegedly a late-night argument that went nuclear. Voices raised. Accusations thrown. A phone slammed down. And a name spoken out loud that couldn't be unsaid. Insiders claim Kai was shown messages that night. Not explicit proof of cheating, but conversations that crossed boundaries. Energy that didn't belong in a committed relationship. Familiarity that felt like betrayal even if nothing physical happened. When Kai walked away from that conversation, the relationship was already over. The leak just made it public. The internet didn't wait for confirmation. Streaming creators took sides without naming names. Some defended Kai fiercely, calling him genuine, loyal, and too trusting. Others stayed silent, which only made fans more suspicious. Edits flooded TikTok showing Kai's happiest moments next to clips of him looking drained. Comment sections turned into battlegrounds. Meanwhile, NBA Youngboy's name trended whether he acknowledged it or not, dragging his fanbase into a storm they didn't ask for. Then, when everyone thought the narrative was set, she went live. No glam. No filters. Just her, staring straight into the camera, saying she was done being silent. She claimed Kai had been emotionally distant for months. That she tried to support him but felt pushed out. That final phone call became the shadow hanging over everything. Nobody recorded it. Nobody leaked it. But everyone close to the situation agrees on one thing: whatever was said in that conversation didn't just end the relationship, it burned the bridge to ash. Insiders say Kai went into that call hoping for clarity, maybe even closure. He came out of it silent, distant, and done. And that's when people around him realized this wasn't just heartbreak. This was betrayal settling in. Almost immediately after, Kai disappeared in a way fans had never seen before. No random pop-ins. No chaotic streams. No joking through the pain. Just absence. The kind that makes people worry. Meanwhile, the internet refused to let the story rest. New clips surfaced daily. Old interviews were recontextualized. A throwaway comment she once made about upgrading her life suddenly felt loaded. A vlog where she laughed about men being replaceables went viral with millions of views. Everything she'd ever posted was now evident in the court of public opinion. Then the alleged leak started. Screenshots that claimed to show conversations between her and NBA Youngboy's circle. Not direct proof of an affair, but proximity. Familiar language. Inside jokes. The kind of tone that makes partners uncomfortable even if lines aren't crossed physically. Her supporters called it fake. Her critics called it confirmation. The truth sat somewhere in the middle, but the damage didn't care where facts ended and perception began. Streaming creators couldn't avoid it anymore. Subtle comments started slipping into live chats. Protect your peace. Not everyone's for you. Check the energy around you. Fans knew exactly who they were talking about. One major creator allegedly reached out to Kai privately and told him to step away from the noise. Another unfollowed his ex quietly, a move fans caught within minutes and turned into a trending topic. Every small action became a headline. And then something unexpected happened. A clip from one of Kai's old streams resurfaced, one that nobody paid attention to at the time. In it, he joked about how he hated feeling like he had to earn love by providing everything. At the time, it felt like content. Now it felt like foreshadowing. Fans shared it everywhere, saying he'd been telling his truth long before the breakup. That clip alone reignited sympathy for him in a massive way. Her side of the internet pushed back hard. They argued she was being vilified for wanting independence. That she wasn't responsible for Kai's mental health. That being in the same city as a famous rapper wasn't a crime. And for a moment, the narrative wobbled. Until another alleged insider stepped forward. Someone claiming to be close to the situation said the issue wasn't just the messages. It was how she handled being confronted. According to this source, when Kai asked for reassurance, he got deflected. When he asked for boundaries, he got defensive. And when he asked for honesty, he got silence. That combination, they said, was what finally broke him. Then came the moment that shifted everything again. During a brief appearance on stream days later, Kai didn't address the rumors directly. But fans noticed his words carefully. He talked about loyalty. About knowing when to walk away even if you love someone. About choosing self-respect over attachment. He never said her name. He never mentioned NBA Youngboy. But the message landed hard. The chat flooded with hearts, support, and one repeated phrase, "You dodged a bullet." That moment solidified public opinion in a way no tweet ever could. Her response to that stream was subtle but telling. She posted a cryptic Instagram story about being misunderstood and outgrowing situations. No apology. No acknowledgement of Kai's pain. Just self-preservation. That's when even some of her supporters started backing away. Because growth without accountability reads differently when someone else is bleeding publicly. Behind the scenes, brands were watching closely. Kai's image as the hardworking, genuine creator remained intact, even strengthened. Her influencer deals, however, reportedly stalled. Comments under sponsored posts turned brutal. Companies don't like controversy they can't control, and this one was radioactive. The silence from her camp grew heavier, more calculated. Then the NBA Youngboy angle flared up again when a rumor spread that he'd unfollowed her. No confirmation. No statement. Just a digital move that sent fans spiraling. Some saw it as distancing. Others saw it as damage control. Either way, it fueled the fire. Because if nothing happened, why cut ties so publicly? As the days passed, Kai began slowly re-emerging. Short streams. Focused energy. Less chaos, more control. Fans noticed the change immediately. This wasn't the same Kai. This was someone hardened by experience. Someone who learned something the painful way. And as his confidence returned, the narrative crystallized. This wasn't a man abandoned. This was a man who chose himself. Her attempts to reclaim the narrative grew quieter. Fewer posts. Less flexing. More vague captions about healing and privacy. But the internet wasn't interested in vagueness anymore. They wanted accountability. And without it, every post felt hollow. Every smile felt forced. The contrast between their paths became impossible to ignore. Then, a new rumor began circulating, that she had reached out again privately, hoping to talk. No proof. No screenshots. Just whispers from people close to both sides. Whether it's true or not almost doesn't matter. Because Kai didn't respond. And that silence was the loudest statement of all. As the story reached this stage, one thing became clear. This wasn't about one night, one rapper, or one leak. This was about mismatched values, blurred boundaries, and the cost of loving in public. Kai's heartbreak became a lesson the internet latched onto. Not because he was perfect, but because he was human. And as fans waited to see if there would be one final reveal, one final leak, one final confirmation, insiders hinted that something was still being held back. Something that, if released, would end the debate entirely. What that is hasn't surfaced yet. But everyone close to the situation agrees on one thing. If it ever does, there will be no coming back for anyone involved. By the time the internet realized this story still wasn't finished, it was already too late to step away. Because what happened next didn't come from a tweet, a live stream, or a blurry clip. It came from the shadows. Quiet. Calculated. And devastating. According to multiple so-called insiders, there was one final piece of evidence everyone knew existed but nobody had seen. A screen recording. Not a leak from a fan page. Not a fake Twitter screenshot. A private video saved on a phone that never belonged to the internet. A video Kai allegedly saw during that final phone call. And the reason it never surfaced publicly wasn't because it didn't exist. It was because releasing it would have destroyed more than one person at the same time. Those close to Kai say the moment he saw it, he didn't yell. He didn't argue. He didn't threaten. He went completely still. The kind of silence that scares people more than anger ever could. Because in that moment, whatever doubt he had left vanished. It wasn't about cheating anymore. It wasn't about rumors. It was about disrespect layered so deeply that no apology could reach it. The details of the video have never been confirmed, but whispers spread fast. A familiar voice. A laugh that didn't belong in someone else's relationship. A tone that crossed the line even if bodies never did. And most damaging of all, a sentence allegedly said on camera that insiders claim replayed in Kai's head for days afterward. He doesn't need to know everything. That line alone, if true, would explain why Kai shut down completely. Because betrayal doesn't always come from what you do. Sometimes it comes from what you're comfortable hiding. After that moment, there was no more back and forth. Kai didn't block her. He didn't post subliminals. He didn't send his friends to defend him. He simply removed access. And in influencer culture, removal is louder than drama. Fans noticed immediately when she stopped appearing anywhere near his circle. No mutual follows. No shared spaces. No accidental overlaps. The digital cord had been cut clean. The internet, however, refused to move on. Then came the most unexpected twist yet. A major streamer, someone known for never inserting themselves into drama, casually said one sentence on live that set the internet on fire. Sometimes the strongest move is not exposing what you could. He didn't name Kai. He didn't mention the situation. But chat exploded instantly. Clips of that moment went viral. Fans took it as confirmation. There was more. And Kai was choosing not to drop it. NBA Youngboy's name slowly faded from the headlines, but not because the connection was disproven. It faded because the story had grown bigger than him. This was no longer about who she was with. It was about who she wasn't loyal to. And as days turned into weeks, the contrast between their paths became impossible to ignore. Kai came back differently. Sharper. More focused. Less chaotic. Fans noticed how his streams shifted. Less self-deprecating humor. More boundaries. More intention. He talked openly about learning to protect his energy, about how fame magnifies the wrong people if you're not careful. Every word felt earned. And every stream pulled bigger numbers than before. Heartbreak hadn't broken him. It refined him. Her influence, on the other hand, struggled to regain momentum. Brands hesitated. Comments stayed limited. The audience trust was fractured. And even when she tried to pivot toward vulnerability, it felt reactive instead of real. The internet doesn't forgive easily when it senses calculation. Then, just when things appeared to be settling, one last rumor surfaced. That Kai had been approached by multiple platforms for a sit-down. A controlled interview. A chance to tell his side fully. And that he turned them all down. According to insiders, he said one thing and one thing only. "My piece is worth more than being believed by strangers." That sentence alone cemented how this story will be remembered. Because in an era where oversharing is currency, Kai chose restraint. He chose silence. And that silence forced the world to sit with uncomfortable questions. Not about cheating. Not about rappers. But about emotional responsibility. About how easy it is to drain someone while smiling for the camera. About how fame doesn't protect you from being used. It just makes the fallout louder. The final chapter hasn't been written yet. That unreleased video still exists somewhere. That final conversation still hangs in the air. And insiders say Kai has no intention of ever releasing it unless he's forced to. But the knowledge that it exists is enough. It's a ticking clock no one can unhear. Because if the truth ever comes out fully, it won't just change opinions. It will permanently rewrite the story of who hurt who and why. And that's what makes this scandal so dangerous. Not the rumors. Not the names. But the fact that the real ending is still being held back. For now. And as long as it is, this story isn't over. It's just waiting for the moment someone decides silence isn't enough anymore. If you made it this far, understand this: you are watching a story that is still actively unfolding, whether the people involved admit it or not. This isn't just influencer drama you scroll past and forget. This is one of those moments that reshapes how people move, who they trust, and how fame changes relationships forever. And when the next piece drops, because something always drops, the people who weren't paying attention will be completely lost. That's why you need to lock in right now. Hit that like button so this story stays alive instead of getting buried under fake narratives and half-truths. Your engagement is what keeps the pressure on and keeps the real conversation moving. Drop a comment and say exactly where you stand, because public opinion matters more than ever when silence is being used as a shield. And most importantly, subscribe and turn notifications on immediately. Not later. Not "I'll come back." Now. Because when that unreleased footage leaks, when someone finally breaks and speaks, when one sentence flips everything we think we know, it won't come with a warning. It'll hit fast, it'll hit everywhere, and the people who weren't subscribed will be scrambling to catch up while you already know the full timeline. This isn't about